That's the worst call in the history of all sports.
Deciding who wins the game on this call.
Under review. The call on the field stands. Touchdown.
After review, it has been determined that the receiver did not maintain.
Quarterback's arm is going forward. It is an
Oh, man, on a call that is.
That's the worst call in the history of all sports.
deciding who wins the game on this call.
Under review. The call on the field stands. Touchdown.
After review, it has been determined that the receiver did not maintain.
Quarterback's arm is going forward. It is an
Oh, man, on a call that is.
That's the worst call in the history of all sports.
deciding who wins the game on this call.
Under review. The call on the field stands. Touchdown.
After review, it has been determined that the receiver did not maintain.
Quarterback's arm is going forward. It is an
Oh, man, on a call that is.
That's the worst call in the history of all sports.
deciding who wins the game on this call.
Under review. The call on the field stands. Touchdown.
After review, it has been determined that the receiver did not maintain.
Quarterback's arm is going forward. It is an
Oh, man, on a call that is.
That's the worst call in the history of all sports.
deciding who wins the game on this call.
Under review. The call on the field stands. Touchdown.
After review, it has been determined that the receiver did not maintain.
Quarterback's arm is going forward. It is an
Oh, man, on a call that is.
That's the worst call in the history of all sports.
deciding who wins the game on this call.
Under review. The call on the field stands. Touchdown.
After review, it has been determined that the receiver did not maintain.
Quarterback's arm is going forward. It is an
Oh, man, on a call that is.
That's the worst call in the history of all sports.
deciding who wins the game on this call.
Under review. The call on the field stands. Touchdown.
After review, it has been determined that the receiver did not maintain.
Quarterback's arm is going forward. It is an
Oh, man, on a call that is.
That's the worst call in the history of all sports.
deciding who wins the game on this call.
Under review. The call on the field stands. Touchdown.
After review, it has been determined that the receiver did not maintain.
Quarterback's arm is going forward. It is an
Oh, man, on a call that is.
That's the worst call in the history of all sports.
deciding who wins the game on this call.
Under review. The call on the field stands. Touchdown.
After review, it has been determined that the receiver did not maintain.
Quarterback's arm is going forward. It is an
Oh, man, on a call that is.
That's the worst call in the history of all sports.
deciding who wins the game on this call.
Under review. The call on the field stands. Touchdown.
After review, it has been determined that the receiver did not maintain.
Quarterback's arm is going forward. It is an
Oh, man, on a call that is.
That's the worst call in the history of all sports.
Welcome to another bad call. It's another Friday night football fiasco.
That's one way to put it.
Live stream from the basement here. Ready to chat with my boy JD. What's happening,
What's up,
man?
buddy? You know, living somebody's dream. I'm just trying to figure out whose it is at this point.
Yeah.
How are things?
Touch that one. Well, you know, it's been a week. I'll tell you that much.
Yep. That's where I'm at.
I don't know. I'm hopeful the next week will be a little bit better. But we've been running with either 2 or 3 of us out of our 5-person office all week, and it just so happened that it hit our like one of our busiest times of the year. So, and of course, I've only been with my company for 6 months now, and so it's all new to me. But I definitely feel like I'm pulling more than my weight. So I could hang my hat on that.
Your weight is enough for the average man too.
Yeah, you ain't so wrong. So
Hey, Blue Fox Jacks, what is up? I appreciate the follow. How you doing tonight?
but you know, I've got very little research in
Perfect.
this week.
Perfect.
I did some fly by the seat of my pants lineup building. I usually, I had so little time to even look at Twitter or anything this week. I I almost always come into this show having listened to about 3 or 4 other podcasts about fantasy football.
Yeah. Hey, real quick, we've got Blue Fox Jax over on Twitch right now saying, hey, with the new follow. He's doing good tonight. He is a Chiefs fan, so he's in a much better position than we are as Bears fans. Good for you. Glad you have the the quarterback that should have been taken by Ryan Pace. Congrats.
So, yeah. Wait.
And Lauren, hey, how you doing tonight?
That guy still have a job? That's some BS. That's what all I gotta say.
I'm hearing some murmurs that it may be Pace gone, Nagy stays, which is why Pace has not been doing any press conferences because he about to be fired.
Well, I feel like they should go ahead and cut that head off at the top and get rid of Ted Phillips and just rebuild the whole thing. I did see some chatter, or that they if they were to go that way, could be like considering Peyton Manning, try to bring him in to run things.
Yep, I saw that one. That would be interesting.
I'd be all right with that.
He's definitely got the football mind. Hey, Blue Fox Jax, do you? I'm just gonna start calling you Jax for now. Shorten it up a little bit. You play fantasy football, a little daily fantasy. What's your game? While we wait for that, how'd you do last week, buddy?
Well, I hit it with my cash lineup. Here's what I settled on for cash. I honestly don't remember what I talked about on the stream last week as my lineup, but I settled with Rodgers at quarterback.
Okay.
Running, I stuck with David Montgomery. I know I had him. I think I had originally had Derrick Henry and Dalvin Cook, but I got off those guys, and I had James Robinson and Austin Eckler, which Eckler didn't really get there, but I had Robert Woods, Adam Thielen, Denzel Mims, Anthony Ferkser, and the Seahawks D. So 151.3 was good enough to cash in double ups. So
I should have been playing double ups.
You should always play double ups. I don't know. I don't know how many times we can go over this, but if I'm
gonna gamble, I'm swinging for the fence.
If you want to win, well, that's the thing. You play some double ups where you can cash and still take your shots at the GPPs. And
you forget that you and I play a vastly different budget. Vastly different budget.
We, I mean, if you have a bad week, it hurts. But most weeks, you're basically breaking even, and then every now and then you might get a shot at hitting something in a GPP, which I did bring home a winning lineup in the $4 super booster, which top 250 people win $100. So
yeah, I popped 2 entries into that this week. So, I don't know where that's been all of my DFS life.
I didn't have this lineup in in anything else other than the super booster, which is kind of disappointing because would have made some more money, but $100 on a $4 investment is nice.
So your 151 got you into that one?
No, my 151 got me in double ups.
Okay.
My
Okay, what
lineup,
got you in the super booster?
the super booster was a
I don't
Kirk
need the lineup. What was the score?
190,
Oh, okay. Yep.
190.4.
I did not sniff that one. I was like, whoa, wait, your 150 got you there? That's crazy.
And that, that had Corey Davis and Darren Waller in it. So
my lineup was pulled down by 2 plays. Derrick Henry, who went for 6.9, and Josh Reynolds. I mean, he was a low cost guy. I knew he wasn't going to be a ton. He came in at 3.1, but he's been getting decent volume, and then did basically nothing in that game against Arizona, despite it was a 38-28 game. I mean, 66 points scored, and he only puts up 3. That one was rough. My hit in that one though was Kiki Kute. I had him in, and he shot for 25. He is on my list for somebody to play this week. I'm not gonna have him in my lineup that we go over tonight, but he is. I will have some shares of Kute because it looks like Buster Screen is out this week. So,
well, I will tell you that that 190, that lineup with 190 got there despite having Devontae Booker and DJ Shark. Which means that I was real close to popping. But like I said, it was only in that tournament. If it would have been in a play action and I would have had that, I would have been a little more disappointed. But
all right,
got there. So, but so I had some success there. I actually had some success in the Monday Night Millionaire as well. Had a bit of a sweat in that one. But made some money, and it's all good. So
yeah. Real quick, our weekly tournament that we usually play our cash lineups in, as you should. Got to give a shout out to Big Jeezy. Jim Dad 317 dropped a 205 on us. Unfortunately, did not have that in any other contest other than that one. But man, he had himself a lineup: Rodgers, Carson, Montgomery, Adams, Robert Woods, Crowder, Robert Tonyan, Corey Davis, and Browns defense for that last 5 points. That was a hell of a lineup.
So he had that without Waller?
Yep.
Wow. Yeah. Wow. Yeah.
And based on looking at this, he probably would have had room for some flexibility. But
a good lineup. That just tells you, I mean, I always like to try to drop like my lineups, and I didn't with that one, but I like to drop them in something that can get you more than just a few bucks. So put them into play action for $3, or even in like the daily dollar, where the top prize might be at $5,000, but you never know. So
yeah, I put my cash lineup in a GPP every week as well, just because you never know what's going to happen.
Sure thing.
Well, that's not true. I know what's going to happen, so I don't know why I keep playing it. But on that note, let's move on to week 14 and let's play with your cash lineup. Let's see what you got. If you're new to this, what happens is Justin takes 40 minutes to go through his cash lineup, and then I will follow up the last 10 minutes and do a GPP lineup. And what you should do is probably follow Justin's cash lineup, because I have missed basically all year.
Yeah,
everybody that's in a smash spot gets smashed as opposed to doing what they're supposed to do.
And so let's just first of all, most of the time from Friday night when I have a lineup to Sunday morning, it changes somewhat, if not significantly, because all of the late breaking news has to be taken into consideration. But also between Friday night when we do this, and we love interactions here or whatever, if you got questions or ideas or thoughts, keep hitting us up on social media, all the way up until lock on Sunday. Well, even after,
100%.
but we can share thoughts and ideas about things that have changed from Friday to Sunday as well. So, but let's go ahead and let's dig in here. And like I said, I'm a little. This was my fresh. This is my lineup off of a fresh mind with no outside pollution to get me here. So
this will be fun.
Yeah,
this will be fun because normally you do your lineup and I've heard it 18 times before we get to it. So this will be fun.
Okay, so we are going to start out at the running back position, and we've got Derrick Henry at 8,700, Aaron Jones at 7,600. Spend up for some studs, and Jacksonville, not a good defense. Detroit, not a good defense. These are two defenses that are made to be violated by a couple of guys who like to violate. So I like the looks of these guys, and I went ahead and slotted Austin Eckler in at the flex for 7K.
I'm going to interrupt you for one second here. Just a little note on Aaron Jones. He's been kind of it's hard to call him a letdown at 17 points in a week, but week 2 versus Detroit, he went off for 45 points. So keep in mind the upside that sits there. Your floor's probably around 15. Your upside's in that 35 to 40. So just throw that out there.
And in this matchup, I'd say his floor, I feel safe that he, you could be looking at 20. So it's in the dome, so you don't have to worry about weather or anything like that.
Yep.
I spent up there at running back position, and I went ahead for quarterback. I didn't look real deep into quarterback, but I put Justin Herbert in there at 6,800 at home against the Falcons. Quarterbacks are scoring at a high rate against the Falcons. The Chargers are coming off a wholly disappointing outing, but overall, Justin Herbert has been a stud this year, and he's in a much better matchup this week.
Yeah, Justin Herbert last week cost me the number 2 seed in a season-long. It's a super flex. I had Russell Wilson and Justin Herbert, and I had Jared Goff sitting on the bench. It seems like a no-brainer. You played Russell Wilson and Justin Herbert.
Yeah, and so that game,
unfortunate.
That game is sitting at like a 48.5, which isn't huge, but the two teams, it's got they've got a real small spread. The Falcons are actually favored by a point. On this one side I'm looking at now, that with the news of no Julio, I think that could change a little bit.
Yeah, it should drop projections a little bit too. This had one of those inklings of stack them on both sides, but the Falcons offense without Jones changes entirely, and it loses a lot of explosiveness.
So yeah, but a lot of times these games that are projected to be close end up being the games that turn into shootouts. So like I said, early in the process, but this is where I'm at. That being,
he may have low ownership too. People may have felt burned and have low ownership. So I'm cool with that one.
That being said, I need to find some savings because I've spent quite a bit of money thus far. I looking at what's going on with the Jets. They have no Denzel Mims this week, who I've been actually playing quite a bit. And we've got Jamison Crowder, who's kind of banged up. So Brashad Perryman is sitting here at 3,900 in a matchup against the Seahawks, who just haven't been all that great against the pass for receivers and whatnot. So Perriman, in his last several games, has had he's been up and down with the targets, but I think his target share is going to go up with no Mims, and he has put up over 10 fantasy points in 3 out of the last 4, 4 out of the last 6, and one of those was an explosion 30-point game. So you would think they're going to have to. Well, it's hard to say. The Seattle Seahawks are an enigma at this point compared to what they were in the first 6-7 weeks of the year. But at his probable opportunity and his price, I think it's a good place to save some money in the lineups this week.
Okay.
Another place that I saved some money is at tight end. And I know that you mentioned Kute, but
You're going back to the well, huh?
I'm coming back to Jordan Akins for 2,900. The Bears rank 30th against the tight end. They just, the defense all overall is starting to fall off the table, but throughout the season, they've just not been good against the tight end position.
Yeah.
If I'm saving money, we know that this Houston offense has targets available. I actually didn't even look what his targets were last week. He only had 3 targets last week, which is a little bit surprising, but he's running the most routes of any of the tight ends in Houston. So you might, you attack teams where they're weak. So, and again, paying down 2,900, it's not going to take much to get back to value.
Hey, thanks for that like and share, Lindsay. How you doing today?
So,
all right, so you got 2 receiver spots and a defense left. What are we looking at?
All right, so I'm going to go ahead. I'll just tell you that based on what I had left at the end, I slotted the Bengals in at defense for 2,300.
Okay.
They're playing Dallas. Dallas has got a bad offensive line. They throw the ball quite a bit. There could be opportunities for turnovers. So that's that. I don't hate that for so cheap. This next guy, I'm a little. I was trying to pair some guys in the lineup that that mid range. I haven't found a lot that I love thus far, and I had 10,800 left here for these last 2 positions. Tim Patrick at 4,200 for Denver. Playing Carolina. Carolina's been kind of toughish against the run. Not as tough against the pass. I mean, they're good, but Tim Patrick just consistently gets 4 catches a game. I mean, he had 0 catches in the one game where they didn't throw the ball. They didn't have a quarterback.
Yeah. Yep.
But he's coming off a game where he had 2 touchdowns, but I'm not like honestly, I didn't even look at that. I just looked at what I've known his usual opportunity is in that offense. He runs as like the 1A receiver in that offense. Jerry Jeudy just doesn't seem to get the involvement.
Yeah, he's been a little hurt, and Patrick has picked up quite a bit with Locke. Locke's starting to trust him, which is big. Hey, Lindsay, eating dinner.
So
yeah, I wish I knew football talk too. That would be helpful for a show like this.
So then I slotted in Patrick there so that I could fit Mike Evans in at 6,600, playing against Minnesota, who just is terrible against the pass. And if you look at Evans' game logs, he's just he's been the last 3 games he's had 9, 9, and 11 targets. He's had 4 touchdowns over the last 3 games. This is the offense this is the defense of matchup. You know, the best defensive matchup that they've had in the by best I mean best.
Yeah, they give up the third most DraftKings points to receivers. Yeah.
So I just want, it's weird. It doesn't seem like Brady has developed the kind of rapport with Chris Godwin that Jameis Winston had last year. And Godwin's still involved, and they have Antonio Brown. But Evans is still their big playmaker there. So
yeah, I mean it's the difference in the deep shots.
I feel like
really, yeah.
Yeah, I feel like at 6,600 he's underpriced in this matchup.
Yeah. Just a little note on him. I mean, he did practice fully today, but he didn't practice yesterday due to a hamstring injury. So it'll be really interesting to see how things go. So just keep an eye on that. I mean, it looks like he's going to play and he should be okay, but that's just something to keep an eye on in the next 2 days.
What? Am I reading something wrong here? Why is this? Is the note say he doesn't have an injury designation for Monday's game against the Vikings? They're not playing on Monday, are they?
That'd be weird for them to be on the main slate then.
I know. That's why I was. That's what you get. Well, you got to be careful when you read notes off of DraftKings.
All right. So you've got, let's see, 138.78 on this lineup is what it's saying. Projected. Let's see, when we put you to upside, let's see what the difference is. A 50-point jump in the upside. I will tell you, we have some crossover plays for sure. I have a lineup with Herbert in it. But that's not the lineup I'm going to talk about tonight. I'm actually going to give you the lineup that I like more, or I liked more prior to the Julio Jones news. So we'll go ahead and jump right into that. Prior to having the Julio Jones news being out, I had Matt Ryan slided in there. I was looking at Herbert and I went, you know what? I'm going to go to the other side of this game, save $1,000. But like I said, without Jones, they become a completely different team. Plus, they're not at the Dome, so this is likely to change a little bit. But to complete,
I mean, to be fair, that stadium they're playing out there in LA is basically a dome.
Oh yeah. So to complete that stack, or that game stack anyway, I had Calvin Ridley, and then on the bring back, I actually went double. So I put in Mike Williams for this one, because why wouldn't I? And
he's on your list.
Yeah, and I also have Eckler in here. Now I normally you don't do the running back receiver combo, you don't put them together, but Eckler is basically what do you say, the number 2 target in that offense. You've got Keenan Allen, and then you've got Eckler, and then maybe Hunter Henry, and then you've got Mike Williams, and so it's like 1, 2, and then like 3A and B for me. But I was looking at Mike Williams in the last 6 games, he's had less than 7 targets twice. So he's still getting the volume. They throw a lot, so I like that. Eckler's getting a good usage. Again, with Williams, the target volume for the price is where I'm looking at. So, and Calvin Ridley at 7,500 to me is still underpriced. I don't honestly know how he's that low. His target share is ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. He's had 28 targets in the last 3 games. So, to complete my running back side of it, you knew I had to do it. Derrick Henry let me down big time last week. Big time. It hurt my feelings, King Henry. But it's Jacksonville, and I think we can all remember what Derrick Henry does to Jacksonville, especially this time of year. So I'm not gonna miss out on him. Yeah, I mean at 8,700, like I'm gonna do it. You know, I mean the 2 running backs priced above him are Christian McCaffrey, who's been ruled out and is not playing, or at least he's doubtful, but he ain't playing. And then you got Dalvin Cook, who's facing a really tough Tampa defense.
Yep.
You know, for 9,400, so I come down. I really like Aaron Jones in this spot too. But my other back I'm actually going with is James Robinson. I'm gonna go double running back there for that game. The back and forth, I think, got to be good. I think he went for like 120 and a touchdown in their last meeting. Let's see, where are we at? Yeah, he had 120 total yards and a touchdown. Went for 21 points at Tennessee, and Tennessee's defense has not been good. The only problem here is that the quarterback play is even more suspect than it has been, earlier on in the year, because you got the giraffe Mike Glennon back there tossing balls. So like you, because I've got so much money tied up in my running back position, you had to find some value spots. This is another one of those guys that I've liked, and I keep trying to find ways to, talk myself into playing him or not playing him depending on the week. Michael Gallup. Gallup in the last 5 weeks, we'll go 5 weeks, 12 targets, 7 targets, 5 targets, 8 targets, 11 targets. Okay, he's getting the volume. Cincinnati, for as bad as their defense is, they do pretty good against number 1 receivers, so that should leave some extra balls for the likes of CeeDee Lamb and Michael Gallup. Michael Gallup running on the other side, I think, will benefit and have a decent game on that. Tight end wise, because I'm a glutton for punishment, I'm dropping Cole Kmet in here. I don't know why I do this to myself. Playing Bears players. The thing is, though, I think he's taken over the number 1 spot. It was apparent that with Foles, Jimmy Graham was the guy. With
they're the same speed.
It seems to be the other way. I just had it pulled up here. Let me see. Yeah.
I mean, it makes sense because Trubisky's moving a lot, and you need if you need another guy, if you're going to throw to him, he's got to be moving. Foles and Jimmy Graham are about the same speed. I think they pass each other on their scooters in the retirement home.
So the thing here is this game, as much as I would like to say it should be the Bears defense against the Deshaun Watson, and then just like David Montgomery against the Houston defense, I don't really see this being one of those games where it's like 12-9 and all field goals, so Trubisky's going to be passing the ball, because I hate to say it, but I think the Bears are going to struggle with this Houston defense, or the Houston offense, sorry.
Oh, I think so too. Yeah, they're. I mean, clearly
their defense is giving up. I mean, that's what it looks like. Yeah, they're giving up. Anyway, I had, doing all this, I only had 2,200 left. So I went with the Eagles, and I'm actually not mad about it, because the Eagles defense, I mean, for all the problems the Eagles have, their defense hasn't been one of them. Their defense has really kept them in most of their games. And when you look at them against a QB, against the rushing game, they're like top 5 in those areas. And basically what you have is a running back at QB and then another running back. So, I'm not mad about this at 2,200. I'm okay with the Eagles defense. And honestly, because every time I'm like, hey, I'm spending 3,100 on the defense because they're in a smash spot, they get -2 points. So I pay my 2,200.
I know it's insane. You cannot bank on defensive points, because even if a defense has a good game, if they don't generate sacks and turnovers, you're not getting points out of them. So, and a lot of times it's the bad team games with the fluky plays that end up, getting home.
Yep.
So, and at 2,200, if you get 4 points out of your defense, you're happy. But if you play a defense for 3,100 to 3,500 or more, you're not going to be happy if you only get 4 points out of them.
So speaking of defenses, we had a conversation last week about Bears defense versus the Seahawks defense on which was the better play. Did you happen to look at what the Bears defense scored at DraftKings last week? Do you know off the top of your head?
I sure don't.
Okay, me neither.
I could tell you because I have it pulled up. I
could probably look at it too.
Game log. Bears defense scored. That doesn't tell me what they scored. What? I'm on DraftKings. It doesn't tell me what their DraftKings point total
that stinks.
was last week. That's pretty stupid.
It couldn't have been that good. I don't remember them doing anything fantastic.
Well, they had an interception and 2 sacks.
All right, so maybe they had 4 points.
But they gave up 34 points. No, here it is. Yeah, they scored 3 points.
Yes. I finally won a bet. All right. Anyway.
Did we actually bet? Because usually I say, let's bet. And you're like, oh, no, I don't want to bet.
You need to work on your impressions. But I wrote that one down. I specifically said, hey, because we were talking about the extra $200. And I said, I think I would pay it for the Seahawks defense. And you said, or maybe I was going to save it. I don't remember what it was. But one way or the other, you had taken the Bears, and I said Seahawks. So I wrote it down, Week 13, Bears versus Seahawks defense.
Aren't you special?
Yes. Real quick, some other running backs that I think are worth some flyers this week. Antonio Gibson is out, so J.D. McKissick, he gets targeted a lot in the passing game, so automatically you're getting some pretty good value there.
I put
4,900. So
I do play one DFS lineup on Yahoo every week, and McKissick was in the lineup that I built there.
Yeah. So DeAndre Swift is questionable. If he does not go, I'm looking at carry on again, price point and receiving back in a game where they're going to be behind.
So,
I don't know, is Galladay even playing this year again? Yeah,
I don't know. He got ruled out again today.
Yeah.
I've been carrying him on one of my rosters. It's just been very depressing.
Killing me.
Back to the Detroit running backs real quick. In my season long that I was already out of, but I was playing a team who needed to win last week to stay in the hunt, and I pick up Adrian Peterson on Sunday morning and started him.
Oh, nice.
And so because my other option was Zach Moss, I think, and
nice.
and so I ended up winning I ended up winning on a late Amari Cooper touchdown on Tuesday afternoon, but Tuesday evening. But Adrian Peterson was my play of the week. It was pretty dirty. It felt dirty.
Yeah. I mean, and him too. I mean, really at 5,000, and the guy's got a history against that team. Like, it's not terrible. I just think if they really get behind and Carry-On's not hurt, because he got hurt last week. So if he's not hurt, if he's good to go. David Johnson is out this week. I'm not sure I'd be going to Duke Johnson on this one. Just because, like, every time we go to him, he doesn't do well. The last guy that I'll bring up, though, is Kenyon Drake at 5,500. Shows some real upside. Giants are kind of tough against the run. They've been playing better, too. But low cost, high upside for GPP play.
Yeah, the Giants actually do kind of look like the best team in that division right now. So, I mean,
Well,
it's not a.
yeah.
It's not like it's.
Yeah.
I mean, Washington's they're all bad teams, but they're.
Hey.
It's hard to defend any of them. So
you know what? Washington is the Bears basically right now, except they have some semblance of an O-line, but they're basically the Bears right now. Their defense is still playing. Yeah,
and they're trying.
Yes.
And I have more faith in Alex Smith than I do in either of the Bears quarterbacks.
Yeah.
And Terry McLaurin plays harder than any of the receivers on the Bears too. So
yeah, that gets pretty good.
Yeah, I don't really have a whole lot of other thought. I mean, I would definitely play some Dalvin Cook. I know it's a tough matchup, and a high price, but that's a good way to be contrarian this week. I see Ezekiel Elliott has a little bit of a questionable tag. If he was to miss, Tony Pollard would be really interesting.
Very, very. And they've priced him that way, and I mean he's been spelling him a little bit too, a little bit more, which is interesting. I have him on a dynasty team, so I'm keeping an eye out real close.
Another contrarian play might be Jamal Williams. I think that a lot of people are going to play Aaron Jones given the matchup. But we've seen Jamal Williams have big games in that offense here and there. So.
Yep.
That's so far a running back. I do want to say that I love Corey Davis this week.
Yep.
The guy has been a beast this year, and 5,700. If you're looking at him, he had 11 receptions on 12 targets last week. I mean, it was a huge week, but he's got four games over 100 yards this year. He's had pretty steady. I think he had one bad game, and that was against the Bears.
He had one game with 0 points. All the rest of them have been 10 points plus.
Yeah, so and obviously another great matchup. I don't know. I need to go look at Ryan Tannehill, see how he's priced, because he might be a decent play this week.
He is another option. He's at 6,700.
Okay. Again, any of your it's a tougher matchup. Miami's got a good defense, but any of your Kansas City players are going to be viable, and you're going to want some shares in tournaments. I don't know. You got any answers at tight end? Because
answers. That's a real fun way of putting it. I saw something that I thought was kind of interesting of Jordan Reed being an intriguing option. Just because of what the Steelers just had to do with Washington's pass rush and having to get rid of the ball very quickly, having Jordan Reed as an outlet as an option, but there's a different run game with San Francisco, and they've got Deebo Samuel, so I kind of went away from that. if if Irv Smith plays, sorry, Ito Smith, he's a running back. If Irv Smith plays, I kind of like him as an option against Tampa.
I like
the reach Mo Alley Cox or even Trey Burton. I mean, Mo Alley Cox is 2,500, but Trey Burton, we know Rivers loves throwing to his tight ends, so I mean, if you're gonna spin down, that's what I'd be doing.
What's 4 for 4 telling us on optimal lineups? Ugh. Yeah, I don't know about all that.
But so I mean that's just where I'm at this point. So
cool. Yeah, no, it's interesting. I got to do some research before I start dumping money into tournaments this week. But it's our first full slate in a long time. I think a 13-game slate. That is, if nothing gets postponed or delayed or.
So that I was going to bring that up. I hadn't really heard of many teams other than the Bears shut things down. Was it yesterday or today? They went virtual. So that, you know, you're kind of waiting to find out. So keep an eye out to see, you know, if they're missing linemen on either side, or, you know, so I already saw there's, like I said, Buster Screen's out. You know, if you lose another DB, now we've got problems. That's why I was looking at Kute a little bit. Fuller on Cooks, and then you know, Screen on the other side with Johnson out, and you know, no Will Fuller. So you know, your options are dwindling very quickly. So just keep an eye out on that. As with any of these, pay attention to the news. Put lineups together, and make a bunch of different ones. I have built, I think at this point in time, 3 lineups, and I did them all yesterday and this morning. And there's a couple crossovers because there's guys that you want shares of for sure. But like, I think Eckler's in 2 of them, Henry's in 2 different ones. But try different configurations and see what works and see what makes you comfortable, and go from there.
Yeah, definitely. There's certainly going to be a lot of different avenues that you can pick out with so many games on a slate. So
100%. All right, you got anything else?
Nah, I think that's it. We're week 14 here. Got 4 weeks of regular season left. So
let's enjoy it.
We're in the 4th quarter, as they say. Time. Are we the Bears? Are we Dallas? Are we who else? Are we the Chargers? Who else loses it in the 4th quarter?
Yeah, right. Hey, DeAndre, what's going on? Thanks for stopping by. I appreciate it.
So
we're just getting ready to call it. We went through our poorly constructed lineups. I'll say quickly constructed
real
lineups.
quick. What? So you said that my lineup was projected in your thing at 138, and I had an upside of like 188. What was your lineup?
I was at 140 for my cash, and then 196 for my upside. Yeah, we do Q&A. Basically what we do is we build DraftKings lineups for the main slate every week, but we also talk about our season long and outlook for that going forward. So you have start sit questions, or you just want different opinions, we'll happily give them to you. Justin and I are we think fairly different on a number of things. One question: should you drop Holiday or David Johnson? Is that Galladay? Are you talking about Kenny Galladay?
Yeah, I mean, David. I mean, what's
Yeah.
your prospects? I think at this point, either of those guys. I don't. David Johnson
Well,
hasn't really done much.
is
If
it a
Gall,
redraft
if
league? Hang on. Is it a redraft league?
yeah, that's for sure.
Because if it's a redraft league, it may change my answer a little bit. If it's a dynasty, you drop David Johnson, and I don't even question it. Like, I don't even question it at all. But if it's a redraft and you're like, what are you trying to pick somebody up for playoffs or something? Because that makes a big difference. Yes, it's a redraft, and you're trying to drop somebody for playoffs. Who are your other running backs? I mean, because generally speaking, I will say in a redraft format, you are more likely to drop a receiver. A normal, yeah. So you're more likely to drop the receiver than you are the running back, just because the plethora, unless it's like a top tier guy, which Galladay has the potential, but he really hasn't done anything. As a guy that has him on dynasty team, he's done nothing. I'd be more inclined to drop Galladay at that point in time. In a redraft, I'd drop Galladay. How about you, Justin? Waivers? Yeah, that's what I would do.
Yeah, I don't know. Like they all either one. I don't. David Johnson hasn't done a whole lot in the last. I don't know how many weeks either.
Yeah, but you're talking about a starting running back. Like, yeah, I mean, assuming he's starting, you have Cook and James. You have Cook and James Robinson. Yeah. I'd still probably. Who are your other receivers? But mine is Galladay. I'd say I'd drop Galladay. I mean, what are the odds that he plays before playoffs? I mean, before your fantasy season's over.
We know. I mean, what's the deal with David Johnson? Why is he out this week?
I'll look it up real quick. Yeah, like Galladay. That guy. How I made it in the playoffs is just because I have 48 other receivers. Let's look up players real quick here. David Johnson. Oh, he's on the COVID list.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and I mean, with David Johnson, he hasn't gone below 10 points except for nope, sorry, wrong end of that. Let's see. He gave you 10 against Indy. He's not playing against Chicago. Oh, then you got Indy again and Cincinnati in week 16. That matchup in week 16 is very nice against Cincinnati. Whereas, what's Galladay's schedule look like? I'll pull that up real quick. Galladay has Tennessee in week 15. That's a beautiful one, but week 16 is Tampa. I'd rather have David Johnson in week 16 than Kenny Galladay.
Yeah, it's not fortunately it's not I think a decision that's going to make or break your thing unless you get an injury with like
Dalvin Cook and James Robinson. I'm okay. I'm okay riding with that and dropping Galladay personally. I mean, because you save Johnson in case Cook or Robinson gets hurt. You've got a running back to fill in that position. You're more likely to find a receiver that can hit the value of Galladay, I think. Especially week 16.
I mean, without seeing the rest of there's so much that could be different by week 16 anyway, depending on the playoff races and things like that. That's what people start to see. I'd probably keep Johnson too. I'd say just because Detroit's not playing for anything, and it doesn't make any sense for them Houston, I mean, they're not playing for a whole lot either, but
Oh,
at least they're still
damn.
trying.
Yeah, he just posted the rest of his team. Okay, Russell Wilson, Devontae Adams, A.J. Brown, Debo Samuel, Dalvin Cook, James Robinson, Myles Gaskin, Hawkinson, Galladay, Kittle, Gallman, 10-man non-PPR.
Who is in this league with you? Jeez.
I know. That's a lineup, man. That's a lineup. I like that. That's a lineup. Okay, so you're starting Adams, Brown, Samuel, obviously Cook, Robinson. You got Gaskin. Honestly, you could drop either one of them. Why are you holding on to Kittle, though? Or Gallman. I mean, I guess Gallman's the starter right now, but
I would keep, yeah, definitely. Gallman for me is playing over David Johnson most.
I mean, if you,
So
yeah, sorry, Gallman was a gut forced reaction as somebody that lost Barkley in 2 leagues this year. But yeah, if this is a redraft, so you're not doing dynasty, probably drop Kittle. Like,
yeah, I mean,
why are you holding on to Kittle? That's me. If it's dynasty, obviously it's different. But I don't see Kittle playing this year. He's still on IR, isn't he?
Yeah, I mean, he's eligible to return anytime, but I don't know.
I mean, if they're not playing for anything, they're not going to rush him back either.
What are the?
Yeah, I mean, he's very optimistic about returning this season, but that was December 1st. And they're saying if he comes back, it'll be week 16. So I mean, really, I'm not sure I'd even choose between Galladay and Johnson. I'd probably just drop Kittle.
Yeah.
I mean, you've got Hawkinson as your tight end, and you're really only talking about 3 weeks. So, unless you're in one of those leagues that plays week 17 games. You're dropping if they lose, though. Yeah. I mean, if the question is between Galladay and Johnson, I'm dropping Galladay. But looking at your lineup, I'm dropping Kittle, personally. Because if he comes back, it probably won't be until week 16. And yeah, at Arizona. Yeah. I mean, he might be a nice play that week, but it's his first game back in how many weeks? So you don't ever know what you're getting after that time. So if you're in a position where you're dropping somebody this week, I'd be dropping Kittle, and then based on your lineup, I'm guessing you could probably pick him up the next week because nobody else is going to go get him.
Yeah.
So hopefully that helps you out. Like I said, we usually Justin and I differ, but I think we're on the same page here. I think we drop Galladay if it's just between those two. But I don't know. Where are you at, Justin? I drop Kittle right now.
Oh yeah, I don't. Again, why would they put if they're not in the playoff race? Why would they try to bring him back? I don't.
I mean, yeah, he's the key to your franchise right now.
For sure.
All right. Well, best of luck to you. Let us know what you do. Let us know how it goes too. Best of luck to you on that one. You can hit Justin up at Justin M. West on Twitter and other names on other places. I'm at JD West 22 across Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and make sure you check out Another Bad Call, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and Twitch. Until next week, have a good one, guys.
Peace.
Deciding who wins the game on this call. Under review. The call on the field stands. Touchdown.
After review, it has been determined that the receiver did not maintain possession.
Quarterback's arm was going forward, and it's an incomplete.
That's the worst call in the history of all sports.